truth. Really, that's all we know. Keep it real and authentic. This truth be told. Only the truth. Tune in, cause you gotta watch. It's like you with us while we kick it in the barbershop. Here to motivate and inspire. Hosted by the real deal and the God Barber. I hope that you ready. Keep it funny and edgy. Let's go. You already know. Truth be told. Let's go.
Welcome back to another edition of Troof Be Told. I'm your host, Real Deal. I got my homeboy, the one and only, the Mr. God Barber in the building today. And also Desiree on the ones, and I like to say the 3s and 4s and the 5s and 6s. But D-Ray is here today. You know what I'm saying? How you doing,
D-Ray? I'm good. How are you?
Hey, man. I don't know. I'm doing pretty darn well.
All right.
Doing good?
Yeah, y'all gonna ask me why?
Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask you that. I mean,
Yeah,
you got to give us time
He
to ask you why, man.
like, God.
I mean, I said it. I was just trying to figure out y'all gonna ask me why.
Why you give us time? Well, why, Real?
Why, Real?
Why you doing good, Real? Why is your day so good?
Because it's just kind of like we talked about earlier off the set. I'm feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know it was a while ago I said a couple things, about your body,
Yeah.
your finance, and all that stuff like that. But right now I've been working more so on that body.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm on this journey of weight loss.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Is it weight loss or health?
both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because truth be told, my doctor said, you must want to be pre-diabetic.
My Lord.
Oh, man.
I said, no, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
No, ma'am, I do not want to be
No,
pre-diabetic. You
No,
know what I'm saying?
boy.
So I told her, she told me, I tell you what, I see you back in 60 days. No, 90 days.
90.
Okay.
I said, guess what? You'll see me back in 90. Boy, it's only been about a month, boy. I don't went from 228 to 210.
Oh.
All right.
Okay.
All right now.
Okay. All right.
All right.
I'm finna join you, Real.
You coming?
Yeah, I'm coming, man. I'm going to do it. Because I got on the scale, man. My mind said 250. That was my mind said.
Yeah. Wait, you got on the scale?
Yeah. Before I got on the scale, my mind said, Green, you 250.
Yeah.
But then when I got on the scale,
Yeah.
it was 280.
280?
Yeah, 280.
What in the wait.
80, man.
Well, how's 280? Wait,
280.
you went from mine said 250 to 280.
280. My body was 250. My stomach was 30 pounds.
Wait a minute. Wait.
Oh Lord.
That's real.
Wait.
My body was 250. My stomach was 30 pounds.
Well, this is what we're gonna do. We gonna have a challenge, right?
Okay.
I don't want to say challenge. I mean, this is what we're gonna do as a crew.
All right.
Right. We're gonna commit.
Uh-huh.
And that's, well, how long you say? I'm committed for at least 90. I can tell you that because I'm trying to prove a point to my doctor.
Okay.
Now, we can commit for 90.
Yeah, we can do that.
So
Yeah, I can do
we
that.
commit for 90.
Yeah.
We can commit for 90.
I can do that.
All right, so 90 days. So
Yeah.
one thing I did do was I'm off that sugar, right?
Okay,
I'm not
I can
doing
do that.
Sugar like that.
I can do that.
I'm off that bread.
I can
I'm
do
off
that.
them sodas.
I can
I'm
do
off
that.
them sweets, Green.
I can do that too.
Green, I'm off them sweets,
I can do that. I just have to.
like the cookies.
I got to stay away from a certain store. I don't want to say their name on air.
Right.
I got to stay away from. Well, I can go to that store. I got to stay away
You
from
gotta
the
stay
bakery.
away from the bakery.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. The bakery was.
Yeah, because them chocolate chip cookies is something serious, boy.
Okay.
Lord, them
Okay,
things
okay.
serious, boy.
D-Ray, what's up?
What's up? We got 90 days.
Is it? I mean, are you like he got cookies? Like, is it anything that's gonna be a problem for you?
Yeah.
Okay. What's gonna be that problem? Dang. What's gonna be the problem? You gonna laugh and then bullshit like, what's gonna be the problem?
He said, yeah, it's gonna be a problem.
No, it won't be a problem.
Well,
but
what would be the problem?
chocolate.
Okay, you
I love chocolate.
Okay.
Chocolate.
Okay, you
I
gotta
love
stay away from
chocolate.
that chocolate. Then.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, I don't know what you guys got going on, but hey, if y'all want to take this challenge with us for the next 90, hey, feel
Jump
free.
on in.
Jump
I'm
on
doing
in.
it. I'm doing it.
Hey, also
doing
make
it.
sure you subscribe to our channel. We definitely appreciate if you like, comment, We said before, man, we don't care if you dislike. As long as you hit that mother
As long as
button,
you hit the button.
you know what I'm saying?
As long as they do what, real?
Hit that mother button. That's what we want. You know what I'm saying?
What's that mother effing button?
Yeah, just hit it,
Real
man.
Just hit it,
deal.
boy.
Say
Hit the button,
something.
man.
Hey, man, we got a good one tonight, man. I want to just
Yeah.
jump on into it, man. We got a special guest. We say special a lot, but this is special. This is special. We've been doing the Southeast thing. I can't say every episode, but we've had some Southeast stuff going on.
Yes,
you know what I'm
sir.
saying? This is
Yes,
just another heartbeat of the
Uh-huh.
orange and blue.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
sir.
The orange and blue green.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
because we always say, man, Southeast doing some things.
And what I always say, but we don't just play football and basketball and
Yeah.
baseball. We do other things.
We do other things.
Yeah, we do other things.
Listen, man.
We do other things.
Tonight's guest is a gentleman that went to Southeast High School. He also, I don't know where this came from. We're going to learn tonight, though. But I do know that he is very well known in the racing world. He also works on high-powered cars. Not just work on them, but he build them. All right? And I say, well, you build them? What do you mean? You build them from nothing? I mean, I build engines. I don't know if you could build an engine, Green.
No, I can't build no
You know what I'm
engine.
saying? Very well known in the racing world. He has won many different, I don't know if you call them matches or tournaments or races or whatever you want to call it. But what I do know is he has a following, he has a name. And when I say the big people, the big wigs come to him, you know what I'm saying? When they need something,
Lord have mercy.
right here in Bradenton, Florida, man, they come to this guy. The one and only Mr. Stanley Albritton Jr.
Stand. What they say, stand the man. Stand the man.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, stand.
How you doing, man?
Wonderful.
Man,
Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you in the shop today, man. Talking about just, when we have guests, we always want to highlight some of the things they do, especially from the community, right?
Yeah.
And like I said before, man, I've heard your name. I've heard about Stanley in the racing world, but I just didn't know what extent that was until I dropped by the shop. Let me start off by saying this, Stanley. You born and raised here?
Yeah, Braden.
Braden.
Yeah.
All right. So you went to Southeast High School.
Yeah.
Did you do anything sport-wise at Southeast? Let me just start by that.
Not at all.
Not at all, Green.
Not at all.
Not a darn thing.
See what I'm saying?
Not at all.
So
I was the guy with two left feet. Now we used to play football in Mixon. That's where I live. And a lot of
Yeah.
you guys used to play football in Mixon all the time. Well, I was the guy they never picked. But I was always working on the race car. So yeah, I wasn't athletic, and I wasn't athletic at all.
But you say you were working on a race car in high school.
Oh, I built my first motor when I was 12 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I built my
12
first-
years old.
Wait, Stanley. Wait.
Wow.
I was a professional race car driver when I was 15 years old. Yeah.
So y'all out there running on the field and he around here
What about
building
racing?
motors and racing.
Yeah.
What? Wait. How did it get started though, Stanley? Because at some point you got to get a spark of interest in doing that. Like, was you around that with your family? Like, kind of how did you even get started with building engines or racing cars or whatever?
Yeah, my father and his brothers, which it was three of them, they was real popular around in Bradenton, Albritton brothers, and they was all into high performance cars, and of course that's what sparked the interest with me, was being a little kid running around with my dad and my uncles, and they had race cars, so that's all I really know, and that's all I always wanted to do was be a race car driver. That's what people ask me, man, what you always want to do? Be a race car driver. So
Really?
just yeah.
And that's crazy. And then, coming from Mixon now, east side of Bradenton,
Yeah.
there's a lot of athletes came out of Mixon. But you don't hear people you don't hear us. When I came up, I didn't hear nobody saying they want to race cars.
Yeah.
Now, I used to watch it on TV, and we used to like what we see, but I never heard nobody that came up with me say, "Hey, Gree, that's what I want to do."
Yeah.
So for you to say that's what you want to do, even though you see your dads them do it, that was at 12.
Yeah.
You built your first engine. That's amazing, man.
I was around it Man, my dad had a mechanical shop, and I used to go there, and that was where I spent all my time at. You know, working and watching my dad.
Right.
And I was the little kid that always paid attention. I'd be like, "Dad, you doing that wrong?" And shut up, boy. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But I always studied. I mean, you just study your craft. And as I got to be older, a lot of the guys that was his friends that was like, hey man, they gave me an opportunity to do stuff. And actually, this guy, a real good friend of mine, he passed away now, but that's the first motor I ever built. A guy named Eric Brooks from Robonia. Eric Brooks, and he used to race, foot brake race, and I built this small block Chevrolet 350, and I built it when I was 12 years old.
Wait.
At 12, man.
What did you build again?
The whole motor, it's a Chevrolet 350.
At 12, Stanley.
Wait, you built it for him to actually go on the
Race.
track and race?
Yeah, he raced.
And it worked?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
At 12?
Yeah. Yeah. At 12 years old.
And the way Stanley talking like
It's
it ain't
common,
nothing like,
right, like
Yeah.
man, Stanley, that's big.
Yeah.
They're like, man, that's,
Well, let me ask you this. Did you go to any type of school for it?
yeah.
There's no school for no mechanical work at all. None.
None.
Not none, Stanley.
But the thing about it is, if you think about it, if I was building motors at 12, I already knew pretty much more than what the
class
teacher
could
and
teach.
everybody
Yeah,
else knew,
absolutely.
because
Yeah.
At that point, I
At
was a
12.
master of doing it. And like I would say this, I have a very strong background. My father, and he's still living to this day. Like my father was the type to. If we built the house or we built our race car trailer, like we literally built our enclosed race car trailer. And that's one person that I can say, man, I never seen my daddy fail. So when you have a mentor like that, like literally, like in mixing, they was all regular sized houses. Well, we did an addition on the back of our house. Well, my father built that. We poured the concrete. We put the frame up. Of course, he got people that did it, but my father never failed. So when
Right.
you got to follow in those footsteps,
You never gonna fail.
failure's no option.
not an option.
You gonna make it happen.
So, so like I say, even us building our first enclosed trailer, normally you see the cars have an open trailer, you pull the car. Well, my dad, I remember being a little kid, we putting the trailer up, putting the frame on it, putting the walls on it, putting the sealed roof on it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, putting the metal on it. So,
Yeah.
Oh wow.
so you just, and when you're in that type of environment, 12 years old, 15 years old ain't nothing but a number, because that's what you see.
You're saying
Wait,
that.
don't you?
Golly,
Isn't
man.
that? I mean, to do that, were you welding?
Yeah, I taught myself how to weld. I taught myself how to weld when I was thinking back. I think I was like 15 years old.
Come on, Stanley.
And the reason why, because my father went to school to learn how to weld, and it was funny. I went to go and mess around with my dad. Like I said, I had a shop, my
Pretty
father's
much
shop.
open access.
Open access.
Yeah.
So I was working on the trail, and I was up under the welding. And I guess from what I understand, welding upside down is very hard. Well, when I was 15 years old, I was sitting there welding because I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know how hard it was supposed to be. My dad was like, son, you welded that? I'm like, yeah. He was like, how did you do that? I said, just lay it down up under there. And he's like, And he never really told me until I got old. And that's, it's hard to weld upside down.
And you just went in
Specialist.
there and did it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I seen,
Let me ask you this. Do you think you had a gift?
Yeah, I just
Oh,
like
absolutely. Absolutely. I'm blessed. I mean, a little bit more personal story. I had spinal meningitis when I was 16 months old. So this going back 1978. So, I'm not going to get too deep in it, but ain't too many people survive
My God.
in having spinal meningitis. And, so it was pretty bad when I was like 16 months old.
Wait,
So.
I don't know if I know what that is.
Oh, spinal meningitis?
Yeah.
Spinal meningitis is a bacterial infection in your spine. And basically, people die. Pretty much I did die. And, it was a lot of prayer put in me to bring me back. The doctors told my parents that I would never walk, I wouldn't talk normal, nothing. They said I was going to be a vegetable.
What?
Yeah.
at 6 months old.
16 months old.
16 months old.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Told me I
Golly,
wasn't going to be
Stanley.
able to walk, talk, and that's what they told my parents.
Wow.
Yeah. Because, modern medicine from 1978,
Right.
1979,
Yeah.
it wasn't none of that.
Yeah.
So, it's a lot of people. I mean, you don't hear about it as much anymore, but Yeah, spinal meningitis is bad. It was bad back then.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Golly, Stanley said you ain't go to school to learn nothing about an engine.
Nothing.
So Stanley, so you got certification, you got certificates of people telling you that you good and you the best. And I'm saying no. The reason I'm asking that because a lot of people feel like you got to go to school to learn certain things, man.
Absolutely not.
Especially to be a mechanic.
No. Well, see, it's a lot of smoke and mirrors and mechanic. Like, and I'll share this story with you. I graduated high school early. And then, of course, you know, when my son's mother said, "Oh, I'm pregnant," so I'm like, "All right, you know, the scale. You got to take care of your kids. You got to do this, that, and another." So I went and got me a job. Went and got a job, Bill Graham Ford.
Okay.
Well, it was funny. They put me at there working, and they didn't. And what you mechanical job is, you call it flat rate. And what flat rate is, I didn't get paid by the hour. I got paid by what I did.
By the job, yeah.
So what that does is, I can be there for 10 hours, but if I bill like 20 hours worth of work, I get paid for the job that I do. So just to give you an idea, if I changed the transmission and it called for 4.5 hours, well, if I did it took me an hour and a half to do it, I got paid for the 4.5 hours.
Okay.
So, you know, and I remember that job was $15 an hour, and I think I was 19 years old, because that's when I had my kid. And I went there, and the first 6 months, they had me working with a guy. And I was helping him. So his time was up, and he never would tell them how much I really knew. Because, you know, hell, what 19-year-old kid at Bill Graham Ford is really going to be able to do this?
Yeah.
Well, so what they was doing, he'll give me a job, I knock it out and do it. And it was funny. The service writer, they was like, "Well, you think Stanley's ready to go on his own?" He was like, "Man, he know more than I do." And I actually, half of the people at the dealership, I knew more, but I was getting paid the $15 an hour.
Yeah.
Not having to work hard. But, you know, when I went online and had to start doing, you know, the work like they was doing, it wasn't no problem. But that probably lasted for, I think I stayed there for probably a year and a half. And then ever since then, I was in business for myself.
Boy, Stanley gifted, boy.
Wait, you went in business for yourself at what age did you?
Like I said, I graduated at 19. And I graduated at I was 17, I think. When I graduated. Yeah, I had my baby when I was 19. Yeah, I graduated when I was 17. I had my baby when I was 19. So when I got to be, I think, 20, I stayed at Bill Graham Ford for like a year and a half. And after then, when I was showing the shops across the street, I just started working on cars. I had started out with a little toolbox. Went to Sears, because at that point, my son, I don't want to say names, but my son's mother worked at Sears. So, you know, I went and got me a Sears, you know, got my toolbox and stuff from Sears. And,
and that was it.
Doing mobile mechanic work, just working on people's cars, doing tune-ups and stuff like that for probably about 6-7 months. And then I was fortunate enough to move into a shop, which is right across the street from the building that I own. So, and pretty much ain't looked back since.
Ain't looked back since.
But see,
Wow.
obviously you smart, Stanley. I mean, you talk. I can hear the education in your voice. So when you say you went to Southeast for 3 years, you graduated in 3 years. You know, high school 4 years. How you?
I had all my I never failed nothing, and I had advanced classes. So the credits actually, it was funny too. I tell people this. I went to summer school. I had to take one more elective, and I took tennis and pool. And that was my summer school to get my last credit to graduate. Yeah. Wow. But I had advanced classes when I was earlier, so all my credits, I had them. That's all I needed was the one elective.
Yeah.
So he was already gifted, man. That's why he didn't go to mechanic school. He can put you can put stuff together. But it's still amazing to me though, Stanley, to be able to put engines together, motors together at 12. Never been to nobody technical school to learn nothing. You got all these kids going to them schools, reading them books. Stanley just come out the womb.
Just put stuff
Okay.
together,
Yeah, man.
which is crazy.
Yeah, man.
Let me ask you this, Stanley, because like when you say 12, you build the engine, right? But when did you actually got in the car to race?
15.
Okay. So at 15 years old, Were you a little nervous about it, or you weren't scared of it at all? Like kind of like
No, because leading up to it, I kind of got a saying. I ain't afraid of nothing that I create. Even to this day, right now, I can build a car. I don't care if it's a car. Like one of my particular cars right now is very prestigious, very fast, and some of the guys that's around me, they be like, "Man, he got in this car like he done drove it, for 10 years, and it could be brand new." But I'm not pretty much afraid of nothing that I created or built.
So to that point, right? Because a joker like me, right? I mean, I just say I knew a little bit, right? But if I build it and it's my first time racing it and going that type of speed, I'll probably be just a little bit nervous. Cause I built it, but I don't know if I have that type of confidence. We talked about confidence, right?
Uh-huh.
So are you that freaking confident in everything you build?
Yeah, I trust. That's the only person you can trust is yourself. So if you do it, pretty much that's why a lot of people can't even work for me. I have a business, but people tell you right off the bat, if I don't pretty much do it, I don't trust nobody to do the things that I need them to do.
Right.
But yeah, if I build a race car, I know. I don't know if you did any, research or looking at my race cars.
Yeah,
but even when you came to my office and you seen the race cars, all of those cars I put together. Every nut and bolt in those cars I did. Every one of them. So from front to back, I the one do it. So I know. So that's how you.
So Stanley, how many cars have you? Wow. Do you know how many cars you done built? Or that's just too many to even remember.
It's a lot. It's
Over 100.
I done owned over 100 race cars. Yeah. See.
He talking like it ain't nothing. Like
Clearly.
just,
That's what he do.
It's a little bit more involved. See, I just don't build engines. What I am as well is I'm a race car driver and I'm a consultant. So I have other teams that pay me to consult them. Like basically, I don't want to skip it because I know we talked about it, but like Jamaica, I got a phone call from Jamaica. Well, some people fly me other places, other teams, to tell them how to run their operation, whether it's me driving the car, whether it's me tuning them, whether me training it's a whole lot of other things that go on. So to answer that question about the race cars, I buy and sell a lot of race cars too. I buy a lot of teams out, a lot of businesses out. So yeah, like just matter of fact, just what it was probably a month ago. Like I go in and say, you raced cars. And you might have was my client, you might have wasn't my client. But I go in and I buy all of your race car stuff. And that's what I'm also known for as well, is when older guys and teams are getting out of motorsports, I come in, I buy it all because I'm the go-to guy. I have a store too. Like at my facility, I have a speed shop. So when you go into my facility, the way I structure my whole business is I can't build every one motor. I can't drive everybody's car. I can't sell everybody parts. But guess what? If you get a percentage of every one of them, it don't matter. So you make it the way they got to come to you for something. I sell fuel, I sell parts. So even if you don't want to have me drive your race car, which that's fine, you still got to come buy the fuel from me. If you need the parts, you got to come buy the parts.
I'm talking about Stanley just talking like it ain't. Hey, Stanley, let me ask you something, Stanley, because I like this conversation, man. Because like I say, I like watching race cars on TV. I don't just sit there and watch it, but I watch it every now and then. History-wise, okay, if your dad was racing cars and building cars back in the what? So it had to be in the 60s?
70s.
In the 70s. Yeah. So that means black folks was involved in.
You just don't see them.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, when I look on TV, I don't see us driving them cars.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the drag strip, Daytona 500. What else I'm missing? It's a lot. I know it's a lot more races.
Oh, it's a lot.
Yeah, but I don't see us. But you telling me your dad was doing it back then, so I know we was doing it. A lot more of us was doing it. Yeah. Why I don't see us on TV?
Well, this is a sticky answer, but it's different levels to everything. And I'm going to try to be as political correct as I possibly can be. When you enter a sport that is primarily a certain group of people, no matter how good you are, you got to do double the amount. Like basically, I'm known as the best kept secret. In drag racing, I'm the best in the world. It's a few things that hold me back from going.
So you know you the best in the world.
I know it's hands down. Well, see, it's like this right here.
Okay.
It's like this.
Okay.
You know, you might have a box. You might have a lightweight box, a heavyweight box, or whatever. Mike Tyson would be known as the heavyweight boxer. He hit the hardest. But Floyd Mayweather, pound for pound, is the best in the world. Mm-hmm. Well, and what that means is he's not the biggest. Mm-hmm. I don't have the same, you know, you see the professional teams on TV, well, that all requires a lot of money. Well, unless you're born into money,
Right.
you got to get people to support you. Mm-hmm. Well, that goes back into the circle. You have to be marketable enough for somebody to support you or give you the money. Mm-hmm. So, with that being said, when you come across a person that is very unique, it's a lot of questions. And then you know how that is. A lot of questions, people ask why. And then it can't be real. Ain't no way in the world he that good. Ain't no way in the world. Well, and you know, people trick themselves into believing or giving themselves an excuse why not to do something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know, I've probably had driven probably professional. Like I say, when I was 15 years old, I drove for a gentleman. It was a real good situation, but it wasn't a hard financial situation the way, hey, you get paid X amount of dollars. But of course, I was 15, 16 years old, still living at home. So, you know, it didn't require as much money.
Right.
But as you start moving up and getting older, you require more. Well, then at that point, you seek out sponsorship, you know, marketing partners. But that's where the appearance get a little sticky. So that's the reason why you don't see.
Yeah.
And you have to be marketable. And with a lot of the things that's going on in the entertainment field, I'm from Mixon, I'm from Bradenton, and I'm from Southeast. So you know how that is. You're going to get it cut, uncut, and raw.
Yeah.
So it ain't going to be no, you know, because, you know, people in any sport, I would imagine, any successful situation, is people gonna always try to come at you a certain kind of way, and it's like, hey, man, that ain't what's going on over here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I have integrity. I ain't gonna sell my soul for nothing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's just the way it is. You know.
Absolutely.
You know, and I say this: you can take me and drop me off in Africa. You can drop me off in Jamaica. You can drop me off wherever, and I know how to make it because I didn't. You know, other than God, you know, which I'm God-fearing man, you know, being blessed, and I say that all the time. I'm totally blessed, but you can drop me off anywhere, and I don't make it, because like I say, you give me a carburetor, give me some tools, I can make something happen. And it's funny, like going over to Jamaica, third world country, you know, they don't have a lot of resources. They don't, like, you know, I was just over there last year putting a motor in the car, and man, I didn't have screwdrivers. It was a lot of stuff that I didn't have.
Yeah.
Well, I went over there in 7 days, put a motor in the car, built an exhaust system with a 4-inch grinder and a MIG welder and a 4-inch grinder, you know, like one of those little angle grinders. Like at my shop, I have this kind of saw to cut this angle special, prop, and I was over there doing it. It'll be just like you telling me go out there in the road there and give me a jack and a screwdriver and put a motor in the car.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Wow.
I'm saying, so you gifted, Stanley. Then you say you the best in the world. You know you the best.
Yeah.
But you know, like in our world, in our sport world, when somebody is a gifted football player at a young age, say like, okay, you the greatest at what you do. If you get somebody that's good in college or good in high school, it's gonna be always somebody seeing that person in high school, if you good in high school, a Division I program is gonna get you if you that good. Okay. Then when you in college at a Division I program, when you good with the skills, I'm talking about like football skills equal to your mechanic skills, somebody is gonna draft you. You're gonna have the opportunity to get drafted with your skills of putting cars together. You say you the greatest. I'm surprised nobody that I see on TV ain't came to draft you. You feel me?
Yeah. And I'm gonna.
That's crazy.
And I'm definitely not an arrogant person. And I'm finna.
I see that. Yeah, I see that.
Clean that up for when I said I'm the best in the world, and I don't explain that to you. It's like I said, there's so many different aspects of racing, and why I would say this and feel that way. Of course, you got to be confident, but I am confident. You got grudge racing, which is heads up first line to the finish line. And what we do there is basically you have a car, I got a car, we put up enough money on it, and we go out there and race. Whoever win. Okay, I done grudge raced, I done bracket raced, I done raced NHRA, been a champion in that, I've been an IHRA champion, I've raced dragsters, door slammers. Now that's just the racing part. But way I say I'm the best in the world is I'm doing it on my own money. It's easy to do something on somebody else's money. You think about it, if we going out there racing for, our racing, and just to explain to you like bracket racing, big money bracket racing, he's seen the checks on the wall. You go into a race and say it's $1,000 entry fee. Well, that's $1,000. You're gambling with $1,000. You have 2 or 3 other hundreds of people there. You got 200 people, 300 people there. Well, guess what? We let go of a button, and it's based off of reaction time. So when you're gambling $1,000, it's easy to gamble somebody else's money. It's easier to gamble your money.
Somebody else's money.
So I've been at that level the way I done raced on my own money. I done raced on someone else's money. I've built a car. I build the engines. I build the transmissions. And, and like I say, it's a mindset. And I say this a lot, a lot of the people I talk to, wealth is a mindset. I've always been humble, but I'm to a point now the way you have to realize what's going on. And I go to a race and say right now, if I win, I say, you know what? I just beat every transmission builder that's on the property. I just beat every engine builder on the property. And I just didn't beat every driver on the property. So you look at it. A lot of the guys that's out there racing, they just drive the car. They buy an engine from you. They buy a transmission from her. They getting his money. It's all me.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
if you put it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you the greatest, boy. You the greatest, man.
and then on top of that, and to have success in doing what I do, I just can't look at, it's not based off of how much money that is made. It's not how many races that I've won, but I look at it as stats. It's just like how you guys do. When you go to college, you look at stats.
Right.
Well, you look at it. I just had a customer just last week go somewhere, and they run it up and they won. Well, it's my old car. It's my engine that I just built. It's my transmission that I built for him in the rear end. So guess who won just as well as he did?
You won.
I did. So that's
crazy,
where I give myself the recognition just to be able to look in, because people go through things, you know what I mean? You got to have mental health. And mental health, sometimes when you out chasing it, you don't look around and smell the roses. I had an old guy used to tell me, man, you got to look around and smell the roses. He always say this. And you got to look at your accomplishment, and you got to definitely be thankful of it. And that's where, because other than that, you just always chasing it. And it is, success, you always chase it. So you have to put yourself in a state of mind to say, hey, you know what? I got to be thankful for what I have now and what I have done and what I am doing, So that's where, because if probably 3 years ago, I would have never said that. I would have never, and even how many people can say, man, Stanley, I would have never said it. But I feel like it is to a point to where to be on the TV, sometimes you got to pop your own collar.
Absolutely.
It is.
You know, so and I think that's, you know, I'm 47 now. I think, you know, I think it's 40. You start losing count when you're like after 40. I'm 40 something, you know, but I'm 47, and you know, I'm not. I would say, in my where I'm at in my career right now, am I trying to go out and be a professional race car driver on TV? Nah, because I feel like I'm successful in my own way.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes a lot of the success ain't as good as you think it is, you know, because you have a lot of targets at that point, you know. And what I mean about that is just, you know, you get people that come around you that ain't for you, and, you know, you don't like that bad energy, because once again, when you racing and you got to have a certain mental state, you don't need that negative energy.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I'm real funny about that. Like, you know, if somebody come up to me, and I ain't gonna say because I don't have no teammate, but really it's kind of funny. If somebody come up to me and start talking something I don't want to talk about, I just won't even say nothing. I just ignore them, because I don't need you to put that in my head space. Like, if I'm here getting ready to let go a button for $10,000 or $15,000, or $20,000, $50,000, I done raced for $105,000, and it's like, man, that's a lot of coin. You know, so you got to
I don't be none of that, boy.
My goodness, man.
Dirt.
Yeah, and that's one shot deal. That was and that wasn't a bracket race. That was a grudge race. So
Wait. You raced for $105,000 in a grudge match?
Yeah.
Whoever get that line first.
That's do or die. That's like a do or die. Whoever get there first.
Yeah, bracket race. Now, don't get me wrong. A bracket race hard. That's based off of consistency. A bracket race is like 10 to 15 rounds. So, you know, it's process of elimination. You win the first round, 2 go down, 1 come back. So if it's 300 calls, you can do math. It's 100, 150. And that's what a bracket race. Them checks that's up on the wall, that's what make a bracket race more prestigious, because you got to have a level of consistency behind you. That's when the car got to be good.
Yeah.
That's when you have to be mentally focused. Everything got to be intact to be able to, you know, go to be endurance, you know, to have endurance. It's more, a bracket race is more endurance. Grudge racing, you know, I got a phrase for it, but it's just a nickname for it. But it's one shot deal. So you have to focus all of your energy in that one race, no matter what it is.
Let me ask this. The Solar Speedway, they do grudge match races, right?
Yeah, not so much anymore. It's more
Back in
in
the day, because I think around that time I started realizing that you were racing.
Yeah,
because you were doing those.
Yeah.
Right, and some older guys around town I heard that had their cars. Right, I think it was more involved back then with guys racing cars.
Yeah.
It could be the same, but I know for sure people were racing cars and hitting at the solo and doing them little bets.
Yeah.
Stanley, you ever lost?
Oh yeah, I have lost. You know, it ain't fun. But I would say this, and not being arrogant, my win-lose record in grudge racing, I done won more than I lost. You know, I probably can say I done raced 30 grudge races, and I probably done lost 4.
Dang.
and really, probably the 4 that I lost was kind of ego. You know, I won that stick out of, and it's on a lot of it is on YouTube. A lot of it is on YouTube. I remember I went to go and race. I was driving for a guy that was down in Miami. And, you know, Miami-Dade, you know how, I don't understand it. Later be just like, well, I guess they do it here. Braden and Manatee County. But Dade and he was from Miami. So they always had some kind of deal going on. And it was just as bad in racing. Yeah. So I had a fast car. So he went and put me on somebody that's down there. Now, hands down, I can outrun the guy. Well, he made the stipulations of we got the race by 9 o'clock. We go down there. Some guy oiled down the racetrack. I was there it was down in West Palm Beach. I was there at like 5 o'clock, got the car prepared, was in the stage lanes to make a time run, which is a time run is a shakedown. Okay. But one guy oiled down the racetrack. Well, guess what? Another guy oiled down the racetrack. It's 10 o'clock. We're in the lanes. So now I'm down there. And of course, like I say, that ego thing.
Ego got you.
The race started at about $3,000.
Oh,
Well, it ended
Lord.
up at $15,000.
Oh,
because
Lord.
yeah.
Oh, let's go.
Lord, boy.
So, I'm Stanley Albritton Jr. Nobody ain't gonna beat me. You know what I mean? I got it all figured out. Well, I was messing around at Bradenton, had a grudge race there, and turned the car up. Well, the facility at Bradenton was better than it was at West Palm Beach. I got a setup in my car that it'll go down the wet road, just it'll go down everywhere.
Yeah.
But I forgot that I left that in it, and I didn't make the time run. So I raced this guy, $15,000.
Gone.
And I knocked the tire off of it. And what knocked the tire off is when we left, and I treated him, but my car just shut down because it spun the tire because I had it too aggressive. Oh yeah. So yeah. So
15,000 that's in the air like that.
Oh, it's gone.
So when y'all be saying grudge race, how far? What's the distance?
1/8 mile, 1/4 mile. It's all how you stipulate the race. And just
Okay.
like I said, this potential, we was buddies and friends, and and I raced for him. I raced one of his cars. So he stipulated the race. Well, the reason why I've had a lot of success with grudge racing is knowing how to stipulate the race. Why would you race somebody? He raced here all the time. This guy's from West Palm Beach,
Yeah.
so this is his racetrack.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have never, pretty much, I would have just might as well say, hey, we just gonna race off the trailer.
Yeah.
Which I don't never race off the trailer
Yeah.
because you kind of setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
So you don't do that. Well, unfortunately,
That's what you
we
did.
supposed to be in the lanes at 9 o'clock, and I just, ego, just
Lord have mercy.
So, but hey, you know what? You gotta take the good with the bad. You gotta take the good with the bad. You learn from it, So
15,000 in the air.
So
boy.
during these races, because I got a need for speed, but I don't think as fast as y'all be going. How fast, are you usually going with the grudge racing?
See, grudge racing has changed a lot. Your drag strip was primarily 1,320 feet, which is 1/8 of a mile. Well, just in the last 10 years, they shortened it up to 660. So, just to give you an idea, my one car that I got go 215 miles an hour in the quarter. So all of my cars are right at like 215 to 220 and 200 miles an hour, that's fast.
Yeah.
1/8 mile, that's gonna, that's like 160 miles an hour, but it's 160 miles an hour in 660 feet.
Wow.
So just to give you an idea, a Hellcat, we would say a Hellcat would go in a 1/4 mile. I think a Hellcat go like 1320s. Well, I go, and that's 13.2 seconds in 1,320 feet. Well, my car go 6.5 seconds. So it's cut in half. So in like a Hellcat in a 1/4 mile, I probably run 60 miles an hour. Well, like I say, my car run 215, 220. And it's basically the acceleration rate.
Yeah.
Now if we was on Bonneville Salt Flats, that's where they do out west, where you just go out there and just run as fast as you possibly can to go 500 miles an hour. That's where like the land speed records and everything are set on places like that, because what they do is just run. When you hear guys going 400 and 500 miles an hour, where they running for a mile, because the car's actually set up to run for a whole mile.
That.
To run that fast.
400 or 500.
child.
Have you been in the car go that fast?
What,
Or
500
have
miles?
you?
Yeah.
No, I never was really interested in assault. I will, but man, I tell you what, a lot of stuff don't happen too good when you're going that fast, because keep in mind now,
Yeah.
it's salt flat. Salt flat, it ain't no steering in the car, and a lot of times, I say 500 miles an hour, but I think the land speed record actually is like 700 miles an hour.
700.
But they that's the cause. If you ever remember back in the day where the car looked like a missile and it's got
Yeah.
Well, you got to think about it. If it ain't tested at 700 miles an hour, what's gonna happen when
When you test it.
you realize if something go wrong, it ain't gonna be too good.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with going that fast. I would say what I do is safe, because you can kind of work your way up to it. If I'm trying to go 700 miles an hour, ain't nobody been 700 miles an hour. These tires ain't rated at 700 miles an hour. These
Right.
bearings ain't rated at 700 miles an hour. Well, guess what? When one of them fail,
Oh man.
Yeah. So, technology has gotten safety equipment and technology has gotten better. And I really don't follow it, but me having the love for speed, I do acknowledge it. I've read books of, I might go home tonight and Google it just to, for fact to say, hey man, what is the land speed record?
Yeah.
But I do know about it. But I just never was interested in that because that's more of a trophy case. You don't get no money for being a land speed record. They might put you in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Yeah.
That, but you don't get no
not
money.
real. Yeah.
At the end of the day, I'm out for, I wouldn't say for money. I enjoy it. I love racing.
Yeah.
I said before, I can race for $1,000 or I can race for $100,000. I get the same enjoyment.
Yeah.
I can see it, man. He's just talking about it.
Yeah,
So Stanley, okay, you say you go 200 miles an hour in 600 feet.
At 1,320. I go like 180 and 660.
So, okay, when I be watching that, I see y'all take off. Then them parachutes come out. Them parachutes, you got to have them parachutes, right, to stop it.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, soon you take off, you need to be hitting the parachute button, right? Because if you're going, if it only take you 6 seconds to get down there, so you take off, you need to be punching that button, don't you?
It's slower than what you think.
Huh?
It's slower. To me, it's just,
You said 6 seconds. That's
Right.
It's
Like,
slower than what you think. You got a lot of time. There's a lot of time in there. Like, for instance.
Okay, Stanley, put me in the car, Stanley. We in the car. I'm in there with you. We finna go 200 and whatever miles an hour on 1,300 feet, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We take off. When you hitting the parachute.
I drive in the parachute probably 1,000 feet. See, and I'll run it down through there with you. Like I say, just slow everything down. And I can probably explain this better because the car, just the beginning of the year at Braden, and it was a big race out there. And the car that I built, that was the first time I ever ran in a quarter, like ever. So, and like I said, this car got the biggest motor I've ever built. I know it was going to be the fastest car that I ever had at this point. But
Just recently?
Yeah. So I got a clip of it. I'll show you a clip of it. It's pretty cool. And even, I show it to you.
Out the solar, right?
Yeah.
They just recently had a pro thing out the
Yeah,
solar.
I was there.
You were there?
Yeah. I'll show you the clip.
Okay.
Stanley like that. Yeah,
okay, yeah,
Okay.
So what was going through my, and it wasn't any fear. I know, hey, I tightened the wheels up. Even down to balancing. And I would say this again, everything in those cars, whether it's, and I'm just going to kind of go through the front of it. I don't care if I got to do fiberglass work, the fuel line, the tuning of the car, the tuning of the injection system, the adjusting of the valves, the bearing clearances, the torque converter, the transmission, the drive shaft, everything I did. So I'm the one who built it. So it's not a fear thing. It's just, okay, man. And as a engine builder, as a car builder, that's what you really feeling. Like I'm really not paying attention to the speed of the car. When the car leaves, I can pretty much, and that's why I get paid what I get paid. Not just talking about my car. When I get in your car, I can get in your car and tell you, hey man, it did this, it did that, it did this, that, and another. Because I understand how everything works. So even if the transmission flare up in the, I've drove guys' cars, and it's like, man, your transmission flaring up between first and second gear. What? It's flaring up. Well, pull it apart. Something wrong with it. Hey, man, the tire's out of balance. Oh, it's, the steering wheel is off a little bit. And so that's the enjoyment of me that I get out of it is, and like I said, I don't get back to it. I'm making the pass, and I clicked it off and went 200 and I went 662 at 210 and clicked it off. Well, I'm going down through there. I'm like, all right, it left the start. And I'm like, it didn't leave real hard. And I'm like, all right, I pulled timing out of it. And I'm like, I feel the timing coming back in. Motor sound pretty good. Screaming pretty good, but the converter a little too tight. I get it in the high gear. I shift it because at this point, a lot of times when cars that I build, I don't rely on the electronics of the car because that's one thing to fail until I get it set up to a point. And just unfortunately, I don't have a lot of time to do the things that I do with working and racing. So this particular race, I took a brand new car to a race. I hadn't raced it. So I never had made a full quarter-mile pass in it. So if I have to qualify, and I'm getting into another segment of it, I have to qualify. if I don't qualify, I feel like I'm a failure as an engine builder, transmission. So you have to qualify. So what that does, that put your back up against the wall. So it's a do or die situation. So you done put this car together. You finna go further than you never went in this car. So you sitting here listening. All right, well, man, the car left. I'm shifting into high gear. It's pretty good. All right, I'm listening at the motor. It ain't cracking and popping. It ain't got that lean sound. So my tune up pretty good. We're gonna go a little further with it. Shifting in the third, man, she rolling along pretty good. And then this is just kind of one of my things. I look over to the side just to see how fast the distance is going by, because you got to have, in bracket racing and in any kind of racing, you got to know where you're at on the racetrack. So, basically I look over like this, and I don't care what car it is, I look over and I kind of tell how fast I'm going. So I'm like, she's trucking pretty good. And I kind of put my head against roll cage. It's like, man, she sound good. I don't feel no vibration. Well, she good. So I just leg it on out. Well, at that point, you rolling pretty good. Now it's time to stop. Now, now that's the next. Now, I ain't never pulled the parachutes to the point in a quarter mile. Now, keep in mind now, I ain't never pulled the parachutes in a quarter mile. Rolling down through there, and I said, well, this should be enough to buy. So now, you think from a racer standpoint, well, that's fast enough to qualify. Let's get ready to shut it down now. Don't be cute, And like I say, I'm a racing analyst. Every aspect of it, if I only have to do this much to get by, that's what I'm gonna do, because you got to come by. You got to be able to come back to run the next round. I ain't finna blow the motor up, do this, crash the car, and all that stuff. Yeah. So if I look over and I'm like, well, man, the bump spot up on the and what they got is a bump spot. That's the slowest car of the field. So as long as I go faster than that, I'm in the field. I get to race on race day. So at that point, I look over, I'm like, we trucking pretty good. Well, we running pretty good. It's time to kind of shut on down. Just see how that's the second phase of shutting it down. Now, I done had cars where you throw the parachute out, it caught the car up, you crash, roll over, and all kind of stuff like that. So I'm like, So as I'm driving, I'm getting to 1,000-foot scoreboards. You up looking at it, scoreboards up there, and then you say, all right. So I drive into the parachutes, because what you don't want is a car to unsettle. If you drive into the parachutes gonna boom. They're gonna bring you in, because you're going forward motion. If you let the car settle, now the car settling, now it's gonna make a more sudden move. It'll be just like playing football without exercising. You want to exercise and get everything going. So you drive into the parachute. So to answer your question, I drive in the parachutes right when I see the 1,000-foot mark, because no matter where I'm at, I know 660 feet. All right, I'm coming up on a 1,000-foot mark. Now, guess what? I'm finna throw the parachutes. Well, the parachutes come out right at about 1,100, because in case the parachute don't come out, in case the brakes, it don't stop as good as I would want it to stop, I'm slowing it down the extra 300 feet early, because I already realize I'm going as fast as I need to go to get in to do what I need to do.
So, Stanley, you hitting the brakes and the parachute at the same time?
No, you driving to the parachute. Don't hit the brakes.
Oh, don't hit the brakes. So that parachute stop that car like that going that fast?
Yeah, it'll stop it.
Because the parachute don't be looking that big back there.
No. Well, it's funny that you say about the parachute. Now, like I said, that was the first time I ever pulled a parachute going that fast. Oh, man, it threw me into the stern wheel. I actually had to change the parachute. They were too big, because the parachutes was normally for 1/8 mile in a short track. See, they got different sizes of parachutes that hit hard. Well, 200 miles an hour at 660 feet is different than 215 miles an hour at 1,320. They hit a whole lot harder. So, man, I tell you what, I threw the parachute and it slung me right into the. I mean, it was funny. I mean, I was up on the stern wheel. I'm like, man, and what it is, even though your seatbelt's tight, they stretch. Those seatbelts are stretched, man. If you hit something hard enough, that seatbelt will stretch. You'll stretch 4 or 5 inches.
Wow.
Dang, boy.
So, Stan, let me ask you this, man, because when I hear you say about, and it makes perfect sense when you talk about building your own car and feeling safe in your own car, opposed to getting pieces done, from other people. But when you are building an engine, right? When you are building an engine, can you tell me, like, what makes, if I'm going 210 miles per hour, whatever, can you do anything special to the engine? The engine, I ain't saying the other parts. The engine to maybe make that car go 10 more miles per hour faster.
Yeah. It's all different kind of tricks. It's like I said, it's different levels to everything.
So you don't figure out all the tricks and trades and
Yeah, and and on the business aspect, we'll speak a little bit more on that. I build engines, of course. I have a lot of customers, a lot of clients. Well, I build motors for the client, and what I mean about that is, some people it's over their head. You can't build somebody a $40,000 motor that takes a lot of maintenance. You can't. Motors range anywhere from I've been on the low end of $4,500 to $89,000 just for an engine. But you can't give that guy that don't want to change the spark plugs, don't want to change the oil on a regular basis. You can't give him that motor that makes a lot of horsepower, because it's like anything, it requires more maintenance. So I build the motor for the client.
For the client, okay.
And like I said, I have grudge racing clients, I have bracket racing clients, I have regular street clients that drive around with big rims on the car, and I tell them a lot. This funny. I say, hey, my thing is, I ask my customer, I say, what is it that you want this car to do? What is it that you want? Well, what is it that you want? And this the main thing. Man, I want to get on the interstate and I want to ride and I want to turn the AC on and I want to go as fast as I can. I said, well, you're going to have to compromise something. And then they'll tell me, oh, I want to burn a lot of gas. Well, horsepower is gas. So, what I try to do is talk to the client, see exactly what they want, so that way I don't overpromise and underdeliver.
Yeah.
So you cater the bill to the customer. Okay. So what that answering your question, is it anything that you can do to? Yes, I can make a motor in it, but it just price everything go up. It's just more time.
Yeah.
You can do this to it. You can do that to it. You can, and a lot. The key to a lot of horsepower is data. Fortunate enough for me, where a lot of my data come from is personal experience, because like I said, I'm out there racing. So even if I build a motor, if I change the carburetor, and it's, for instance, I'm doing a carburetor, I'm adjusting the carburetor, I can pretty much adjust the carburetor right here and tell exactly what it's going to do, because I have not always had it all figured out. Like I said, I started racing when I was 15 years old. So that's 16, 18, 19. You learn. I done tore up some stuff. And, so you learn from your experience, just like life lessons.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but that is my college.
Yeah.
Going out there grenading the motor, or going out there tearing up a rim. Well, that didn't work.
Yeah.
That's college. So that's real life experiences that I'm able to apply to what I do every day. So, and that's basically what I sell.
Yeah.
You can go over there and buy that motor there a whole lot cheaper, but you're not going to get the service that you come with.
Right.
Me.
Yeah.
Same thing. And then, when I explain it to customers, I say, I have the store. I don't have to go to the store. I own the store.
You got your own store. Yeah.
So guess what? If we need to use something, you ain't got to pay for it.
Yeah.
If
Right
it work,
there.
it work. If it don't, it don't.
Yeah.
And like I say, I'm thankful. I'm very thankful to have the clientele that I have, the customers that I have. But you got to follow the golden rule. Treat people the way you want to be treated.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a client that you were like, oh wow, this person coming to me?
Nah.
No.
It is no, not really. It's crazy, man. Like in the grudge racing scene, I gotta be politically correct when I say this. How should they say? I think it was Bernie Mac said that one time when he said, "Hey, man, how everybody? We ain't gonna give it there. How everybody stick together? Well, sometimes we can't stick together.
Yeah.
So a lot of my clients are the people
like that, man.
you wouldn't expect, because and I tell you the truth, I've had my mechanic shop for, like I said, I got incorporated in 2001, so that's going back 24 years, right?
Okay.
I've been doing this for the longest. But you get somebody, oh, he too high, he this, he
Oh
that.
yeah.
You know, but the thing about it is they want to go all the way around the circle.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? All the roads lead back to me.
Lead back.
All right,
So
back to
even
you.
if it's all I
Lead
do.
back.
Yeah.
So what be funny about
And I
it?
know you went over there.
Yeah, yeah. You already know.
They had to come by.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. Oh man, this true story. I sell fuel, right? Racing fuel. Some of my, I ain't gonna even say they peers, but people that race, they went to someone to buy fuel from them, and that person bought it from me.
So they end up buying more probably.
Yeah,
Oh
money for it.
Lord.
I'm serious. And like I say, I'm being political.
Yeah,
correct,
yeah,
but,
yeah.
You know, I just went like this. I know and I love everybody. And I
Man,
get
we don't
along
want
with
to
everybody.
The problem is, man, us with black people, man,
Okay,
we
that-
don't like to support the other black man.
That's just how it is,
you know,
man. I
you
don't
winning,
know.
you doing this. Man, I ain't
Yeah.
going that. I'm going over here.
Yeah,
That's just
Since-
how
since-
we is, man. I
yeah.
don't know what it is.
Since we uncut like that, basically,
Yeah.
I had. This is what it went a few years ago. I had a setup at the racetrack where I sold fuel and I sold parts. Well, it was some white guys that was doing the same thing. Well, I bought them out. Nobody never knew it, and I knew the face would be better, you know. And for a long time, like
That's
nobody never
crazy.
knew it. Well,
That's crazy.
somebody, I ain't gonna say no names,
Yeah.
but they, oh man, I'm gonna go buy the fuel from him, not knowing it was my trailer.
Yeah.
I owned it. I was the one that supplied the fuel. I the one supplied the nitrogen.
Got to be more careful, man.
So yeah, so when I, like I say years ago, before the racetrack that went corporate, just
Yeah.
different owners and just times. But I used to have a setup at the racetrack where I had a 32-foot enclosed trailer. I had parts, fuel, and I sold to people at the racetrack. So at that point, the strategy was even though if you didn't come to me, you had to come to me to the racetrack and see how much traffic could come to the shop. Well, guess what? A lot of traffic didn't never come to the shop. But when they needed me to the racetrack, but it was just funny. Like I say,
Oh, we something else, man.
that
We
was the
something
biggest
else.
thing. They bought the fuel from him. Oh man, yeah, they're going to buy the fuel from him, but not. And what was funny, the fuel is very expensive. Like race fuel is like $20 a gallon, right? So,
Jeez.
what I did was
20 a gallon?
Oh yeah,
Hey,
it's 20 to 25.
Let me get 1 gallon.
Yeah. So
How much you burn going down
Yeah,
the track?
I
one
just
time?
about to ask
about
that,
2
man.
gallons. Only about 2 gallons.
Oh, 2
You
gallons.
burn 2 gallons going down that
Yeah.
track.
On a gasoline, situation. Like,
Yeah.
And what I mean about gasoline, and I get a little bit more than that, you have methanol, which is alcohol. It's like rubbing alcohol, but it's called methanol. That's what your supercharged cars, like you see the cars with the big superchargers and stuff, they run off of methanol. Now, when you got the nitrous cars, that's the ones that's purging the nitrous up, carbureted, normally aspirated. That's racing fuel. Racing fuel is what's expensive. I mean, I think right now it's up. The nitrous fuel is up to like $30 a gallon, and it's high.
Golly, that's
you know,
high.
and that makes a lot of people go into a boosted application, the turbos, because a lot of the turbos, the superchargers, pro chargers, all of them cars run off methanol. So it's cheaper. I mean, I sell a drum of methanol for $300, or I sell a 5-gallon pail for $150. So 5 gallons is $150, but 55 gallons is $300.
That's crazy.
So,
So, Stan, do you work on regular cars? Like I got a Ford Expedition. You work on stuff like that?
to my personal customers.
Yeah.
I mean, just newly.
So that's easy stuff right there. That
Well, I like working on that because it's not as challenging. Building a motor and building a race car, man, you might be there, probably not know so much of a race car, but a motor. Man, I put a motor together and take it apart 2 or 3 times. Now, keep in mind, it's a $40,000-$50,000 motor, so you can't make no mistake. It's been times the way I done put a motor together and you get to the last rod, and what I recreate the engine. I don't take an engine like what's in your truck. That's how it comes from the factory. What I do is I put a bigger crankshaft in it. I put a longer set of rods in it. I put a bigger piston in it. Well, guess what? That'll be just like trying to put you in his clothes. It ain't gonna fit.
Ain't gonna fit.
So you gotta clearance it. So no matter how good you do it, you gotta put it all together and you gotta take it all apart. It's been times the way, man, I had to take me like 4 days, 5 days to build a motor. And I ain't gonna say it's not a bad reputation because people don't understand it. After they get their product, they're more than pleased. But and like I said, I just really came up with this policy the last year. Don't ask me when it's done. When it's done, I give you a call. Don't ask me how much it costs. And if you can't wait on it, if you call me, you need to take it back. You know,
Well,
because it
you know us. Know what we gonna do. What we gonna do?
No, believe it or not, sometimes we don't have the problem. It's the people that think that.
Okay.
You know, I'm not dressed the best at all. I mean, I'm not dressed the best, but when I said, but is it audio or video? Man, I drive around in a raggedy truck. How it's just, I just look like, pretty much when the UPS man come, if he don't know me, they hand the box to everybody other than me. So, hey, I had a buddy of mine.
They're being judgy.
They think you work there.
They're being judgy.
Yeah. So, when people sometimes think that you work on their car, well, I just do like this. I say, I look around. He done been to my place, and he probably understand what I'm saying. I just say, look around. Your motor's sitting right there. Look around.
I got 10 motors. I got 10 motors.
Hey,
Your one motor, boy, I got 10 big motors sitting
hold on,
around
Stanley.
here, boy.
It ain't nobody in the shop but you, ain't?
I got help. I call them sharp grunts. What I do, I don't really trust people to help me with my craft and share my craft because it ain't gonna get done. You know how it is.
Yeah.
They don't have no stake in the game. You know what I mean? And it's easy in this lifetime to, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I didn't. Well, guess what? If a $40,000, $50,000 motor, I'm the one got, because my integrity. If I build you a motor and something happened to it, I bring it back. If it's my fault, I fix it.
Right.
Yeah.
If I blow it up, I buy it. That's just the way I am. You know? And I think that's been a big part of my success in business is just being straight up with people. So, to answer your question, do I work on regular cars? Yes. I work on good people that, you know, I say personal customers. If you call me and say, hey, man, would you work on my car? Yeah. Because, you know, and a lot of times somebody say, man, you know what? Who you refer me to?
Nobody.
Because you got people that's out there trying to do it for money.
Yeah.
And you got people that's out there doing it just because it's their job. And I go back to the Bill Graham Ford thing of saying that a lot of the people at a dealership, they don't really know, man. That's just their job, you know. So they're relying on the computer to tell them what's wrong with it. So the deal of thinking, man, I'm finna take my car to a dealership and it's gonna get worked on. No. It ain't what you think it is. You know, now you got some good techs there that know their stuff, but you might get the guy that just started last week and he's up under the umbrella of the corporation. And I can even speak for myself. I mean, I was a 19-year-old kid working on people's cars, but just so happened I knew what I was doing. But it is the guy that was 6 years older than me, he didn't know half what I knew and had a bigger toolbox and everything else. So, I mean, he looked at the car. So that just
That's crazy.
give you the visual of what really go on. So that's the reason why I still work on close friends. You know, like tires. If you need tires, need brakes, because I ain't doing it for the money. And getting back to where it's relaxing to work on your car because it's cut and dry. You ain't sitting there working on the same thing for 5 or 6 days. And you know, and with race car stuff, you know, it's just, man, like I say, you can build a motor for probably 3 or 4 months. By the time it's said and done. And back in COVID, man, it was a few jobs that I had for like a year. Because what happens is when you can't get the part, you know, you might start on this project and now you got to order the parts. Now it's 3 months for, say, to get a crankshaft. Crankshafts are like three months. And what the crankshaft is the basis, the center of the engine. Well, that's what everything is based off of. Well, it's 3 months. You start this project. Now all of a sudden you get the crankshaft. You get a rod instead of pistons. Now you got to wait on the valves. So you look at how you got to get back in focus to build this whole project to get it done. And You just can't. So you got to start on other things, and then what happens when you have a little delay with that project? So so it definitely keep me busy. But like I said, I still work on general mechanic cars just cause.
Man, Stanley, I'm telling you, man, I done heard your name. Either your name, your daddy's name. I heard Stanley Albritton name.
Yeah.
A lot of times in my shop, because when they talk about speed, like I got guys I went to school with, Calvin Horn. You know,
They talking about me.
yeah.
I just Papa
Yeah, they be talking about. Hey, I'm gonna say every time they talk about racing in here, like Calvin Horn, them, Mr. Preche.
Yep.
Your name come up, Stanley Albritton.
Yeah.
Stanley Albritton. Yeah, man. So I heard you. You know, whether they talking about you,
They talking about
me. But your dad might think they talking about him.
I
See, so y'all in competition, huh?
Nah, no, you know what? It's funny.
Pop know what's up.
Yeah.
Pop know what's up,
Yes,
guy.
sir.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. They talking about you, Stanley.
Yeah.
Okay.
I tell you what, I tell them all, up until about beginning of the year, all three of them was living. You know, my Uncle Roosevelt, he just passed like end of December last year, and that was my dad. It's Oscar, Roosevelt, and my dad. So my dad was the youngest. So it's funny that we say they was always in competition, man. Them jokers bump heads. Like all of my cousins, man, we all love each other. But you look at my dad and my uncles, you be like, man, them jokers go out there fist fight. You know what I mean? Oh, for real, like, bro, like them old dudes, man. It's like, man, why y'all just can't get along? Like every one of my cousins, I love. Like one of my uncle, well, Roosevelt had a whole heap of children. He told me he got 28 children, right?
Yeah.
So all of us look like it's all cool. We ain't no haters.
Yeah.
Oscar kids, Touche, John, like, bro, that's my family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But them jokers, bro, you couldn't hardly get them in the same room growing up.
crazy.
Man, I used to see them jokers bump heads, but see, I was the glue that held them together because my daddy might have didn't get along with Roosevelt and he might have didn't get along with Oscar, but guess what? I was the little nephew that came in.
Yeah.
So I got a piece of all of them.
Yeah.
You know, Roosevelt, Oscar, my dad, so when I started racing, I told him this. I said, I didn't retire y'all because y'all know y'all can't do nothing with me now.
Right there.
Let me ask this question, man. What's your proudest moment? What is your proudest moment of your career? From building motors to racing to winning the grudge match. Like, what's one of your proudest moments?
Man, I tell you what, man, I love what I do, every one of them. I can't really pick one of them because the way my mind works, I go in the solemn. Like when I'm actually racing and my mind is right where it's at, so it's times to where a lot of the biggest races that I done won, I've won championships, and championships is based off of a length of time. But as far as me winning one race, it really don't strike me until later because, like I said, I can win and I get out of the car and, you got the people coming up to you and you're just kind of like, and I ain't never did no drugs, nothing like that, but it's just a state of mind that I was trained to do when I was younger, Share this with you. The gentleman that I actually drove for is named Bob Brown. He and how I even got this drive. This is a story within itself. How I got this driving job was I was 14 years old, and he had a race car and he had a guy driving for him. Well, they broke a motor plate. And what the motor plate is the plate that holds the motor in. Okay. Well, I'm around there running up under the bleachers. I helped my dad, and how it was, we was track brats. We'll be out there helping our daddies, but when our daddies lose, we had our drag racing up under the bleachers. So we'll foot race up under the bleachers, Yeah. And so I was up there running up under the bleachers. Well, my dad come and get me on the three-wheeler. Back then we had three-wheelers. Come and get me. Son, come here. So I come over there. I need you to go back to the shop. Yeah, I think I'm 13, 14, because I couldn't drive. Mm-hmm. So he said, son, Bob needs you to go back to the shop, make him a motor plate. All right. So I go out there and out of just a plate of aluminum that my dad had, I on the bandsaw. My bandsaw is my favorite thing because, what a bandsaw, how you ever seen how they cut meat? Yeah. Well, I made this motor plate. Yeah. And I put the motor plate in the car and came back and fitted it in the car. So Bob Brown looking like, and keep in mind now, like I say, I'm 14 years old. Like, man, all of these guys sitting around here, and they can't do that, but this boy did this.
Yeah.
So that was pretty much how I got the job. Because after the guy stopped driving for him, he called me up and said, hey, I want to talk to you. It's like, what's going on, Mr. Bob? He say, would you be interested in driving my car? Yeah, heck yeah, I drive it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and that's when I started racing when I was 15 years old. And, you know, pretty much when I say racing professionally, he paid the entry because I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
Well, then it has got to the point to where, you know, I was winning money. And he was one of the biggest contributors to me being a professional bracket racer.
Okay.
Because he explained to me the mindset. Now, my father don't take nothing away from him, you know what I mean? But like I said, it's different levels. You got, you know, guys that played here, guys that played there. And I feel like any amount of success is a mindset. And he basically showed me and explained to me the art of focusing. And pretty much, you know, if you pretty much your mind right, it's times the way when I know my mind was right, I go to a race and say, man, nobody ain't gonna do nothing with me and I win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but you just got to put your mind there. And, you know, and that's probably the best thing out of it. Just the spirit, it ain't gonna spiritual, but just the how I feel inside. When I'm racing, I just love doing what I do. You know, so all of my accomplishments and all the times I done won, it's just, you know, I can't. It's not one that stood out. Yeah. Because you know all of them was good. You know,
absolutely.
I've always had my son around. You know, you have your dad. I always particularly liked winning in front of my son. That was probably the biggest thing.
Okay.
Because being a track brat, you know, it's kind of like meet the transmission, the motor. You was the big dog when your daddy did, like say like right now, if all our daddies race. Well, if my daddy went farther than your daddy, you know what I'm saying? So that transferred into me being a father. When my son was there, I want my daddy to say, man, my daddy, you know, I want people to talk about his daddy. Yeah. So, you know, like a lot of my winner circle pictures, and that's one thing that I noticed, that a lot of times my son was there. That's when I kind of just turned it on, you know. It's just more focused. And heck, even when he was a baby, like I take him to the racetrack with me. I remember one time, man, I won a 10-grander, and he was there. Matter of fact, when I won the championship, we went to man, and I'm talking about my son was probably 10 years old. We'd load up in my motorhome, and I'd take him with me, and we was in Atlanta. That was 2007. I won the championship, and what I do is I go and put him in the stands, and sit him in the stands. And son, I'll be back to get you. You know, they'll call my class up. Well, I do the burnout, and we always had a thing. We just kind of, you know, fella, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
After I win, he come back. You know what I'm saying?
That's awesome, man.
We'll come back.
That's a good moment.
Yes, sir. Yes,
that's
sir.
a proud moment, man. Especially a father-son moment.
Yeah, man.
And knowing that your dad kind of had you in the same situation, and for you to come back and have the ability to enjoy it with your son. Yeah. That's an awesome thing, man.
That's good, that boy.
Hey, Stanley, man, you're doing some great things, man.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure just listening.
I'm trying to tell you, man.
Everything you got going on, man. I would have never known. Hey, I'm trying to tell you, boy.
What?
And he's so passionate about it. You can just see it, like it just exudes off of you, like the
like you done been to school or something, man.
Yeah, man.
It just come off your tongue like it ain't. Hey, look, y'all. I keep telling y'all, boy. Them Southeast Seminoles, boy, we something else. Yeah. We don't just run the football. We don't just slam dunk. But we racing cars.
We racing
cars.
Yeah.
But Stanley, make something right quick. I know we got to go. I know. Give me your Rush Mount. Wait.
Rush Mount more.
Yeah. Give me your greatest. Should I say car racers or race car drivers? Like Indy 500. What is this NRH? What that mean? What that's
NHRA, National Hot Rod Association.
Okay.
National Hot Rod Association. Who is my top? Who are you my favorites?
Yeah, your top 5.
Man, you know what? This might sound kind of generic, but man,
I mean, you can put yourself in there. Well, go ahead.
No, my father and my uncles. Because you know what I'm
There you
saying?
go.
The older I get, I realize how badass they was.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So and they basically put the platform out there for me to make me be, because I'll be honest with you, man, I never wanted to surpass them, but you know, it's not a friend, not a envious competition. But if I see what they do, all right, well, I don't do that better, because the thing about it is, my father was one kind of mechanic and race car driver. My uncle was another one. So I just took the best things out of each one of them. All of the guys, and like I say, this gonna sound real. The guys on TV, man, they don't impress me. You know what I mean? They really don't, because, you know, I'm gonna say this. This podcast, we really didn't even touch on a lot of the things that is a lot more deeper about what I really do as far as, you know, machining and stuff like that. But even with racing professionally, like I got certain situations the way I went to go race professionally. I went to have a job to race professionally, where they said that my name was too big for what they was going to pay me, so they couldn't hire me. I was going to drive, basically, I'll tell you this right here. I was going to drive a top fuel car. It was 3 guys. It was a guy that ran a sprint car, another guy that never had really no experience, and me.
And when you say top, I'm sorry, when you say top fuel, what that
Top
mean?
fuel, one of those big long cars with the supercharger that you see, Antron Brown, you see them on TV.
Oh, that's when the engine be sticking at the top of the car?
Well,
Okay.
I have one of those, but I have one of all. I got a Drykster and I have a door slammer. But what a Drykster is, the guys who you see on TV.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
was going to get a job. It was with Coca-Cola and some brake company. And it was over in England. And basically, I had an agent. Same question that you asked. They was like, man, why in the world you never got a sponsorship? Like, man, just never did it. Well, I'm finna go and do this. So they went out, talked to a few people, you know, did their thing. Well, they went to this company, and at first they came to him and said, hey, you know what? I got a guy that'll drive your car. Would you guys be interested? No, we ain't interested. Well, they called him back a year later. Well, we putting this team together to drive a car, da-da-da-da-da. So they give him a resume. When they got the resume, they looked at my resume, and this is what they said. And they called me, and they was like, man, I think it's going to work. We really, really think this is going to be the deal. I said, I'm optimistic. I'm like, all right, if it happened, it happened. If it don't, it don't. You know, I still got my thing over here. You know, I really never stopped doing racing for myself. Even though I drive for somebody, I always had my own race car. So I didn't get the job. So it's like, all right, whatever, however. So they was like upset. They went back because they felt like they, let me down. It's like, no, it's all right, whatever, however. I'm kind of used to it. Well, this is what they told them. When they went back in there to talk to him and had another meeting, they said, we wanted it to read Coca-Cola, not Stanley Albritton Jr. The $150,000 that we was going to pay him, we can't keep him for $150,000. His name is bigger than our name. They wanted it to read Coca-Cola and Stanley Albritton Jr., not Stanley Albritton Jr. and Coca-Cola.
And Coca-Cola.
Yep.
Wow.
So I didn't get the job. But they said, oh, well, he can come back and he can work on the car, but we picked this guy that's not a big enough name. Yeah.
Wow.
Gracious.
So a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
Because it could have been one of those to where they tried you with that.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
So.
Well, you know what? But that's the thing. Being in business, being self-employed, if somebody give me $150,000 and I just show up to work,
Right.
that trumps $250,000
Yeah.
having to work and hustle for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and this was in my earlier, I think this was back in like 2010, So with that being said, I was a lot younger, and to receive a paycheck like that and the fame will come along with it. And I guess that's when things start transitioning for me to say I'm the best, and having to start popping my collar, because I
Right.
started seeing that, man, you know what? No matter what it is, they're going to try to keep you down
Keep
there.
you down, yeah.
You got to, rise above that and be like, nah, that's what it is,
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
telling you the best without really telling
Without
you.
telling you, yeah.
And they actually said, well, we'll hire him if he want a job. We'll hire him to work on the car.
Dang, boy.
Wow.
So, but yeah.
Wow.
So, but that's all good. Like I said, I love being able to do it for myself. And so to answer your question, I really don't have no favorite because once again, how could I respect I've been there. I've been behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I knew what went on behind the scenes. So what you see up there ain't really what it is. What it is what's over here. And like I say, yeah, I'm not going 320 miles an hour. I'm not on TV every week, but I pretty much say if you ask any one of them, a lot, I say half of them I done raced in their earlier years. But I guarantee if you ask them who I am,
They know.
they'll know who I am. You know what I mean? And that's just how it is.
Wait.
That's the attitude from Southeast right there.
Yeah.
That's that mixing Southeast attitude right there.
Hey,
Hey, real. Stanley said it ain't up there. It's right
It's
here.
right here. It's right here. Because you just mentioned something. I want to make sure we do this before we get out of here. You mentioned machining, right? So, I work at Suncoast Technical College right now, and we do have a course where the kids are in the machining class. Yeah. So, machining. So you make your own screws and all, like you make your own supply of supplies.
No, I don't.
Okay.
What I do with my machine shop, I take and I remanufacture engines. So basically, your truck, you can't get that motor. What I do is I recondition the cylinder head, I recondition the block, I bring it all back to new. So I can get an old motor and totally redo it. So when you hear about bowing and honing, I bow the motor. So I take a motor that's blowed up, get it, take it apart, disassemble it, and I have the facility to remachine everything like it was like when it comes from the factory. Boom. So the tolerances and everything. So I get a motor. If your head gasket blowed or you blow the piston, what I do is I get that motor and I take it apart, bow it, hone it, turn the crankshaft, put it all together. And that's basically, I think I started touching on it, the policy that I started. I really ain't open to the public because a lot of the shops around here, basically, I started, other than being a mechanic shop, what I did was I looked around. I got mechanic shops around me. So you got to think outside the box. I'm going to start a machine shop, so everybody that need machine work, they got to come to me. So Napa, Firkins, Cox Chevrolet, all of them come to me. If they need a bearing pressed on, or they need a cylinder head surface, or they need any kind of machine work for his automotive end, they come to me. So I don't have to deal with the general guy saying, "Oh, I want you to fix my car." I will, but you just try to separate yourself. So I started, and how I really got into the machining part of it was I was building upward like 10 motors a year, race motors. And the people who I had doing my machine work, they couldn't keep up. So I just bought my own machines, self-taught, and
I'm done, Stanley.
Man, say self-taught, man.
We done.
Man, hold on, Stanley just be talking like it ain't.
We done.
Well, no, it's crazy. It's kind of...
Hey, man.
Stanley, you crazy.
Well, I say this, man. Like I said, I buy other shop. Like how I first started, I go in and I buy a machine. It was a machine shop in Wauchula. I went and bought the whole machine shop out. I needed one machine, but I bought the whole shop out. So, but the thing about it is, man, machining, bro, is man, them old dudes, man, they don't want to teach nobody nothing. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them just grumpy guys. Like, man, one of the first machine shops, I told them, I said, I tell you what you do. I buy everything. The only thing I ask you, come down and show me how to work the machine. Like, I pay you, whatever it is. You after you spend the money, buy it from them, you go and they don't call you back. So, bowing the motor, I taught myself how to bow a motor. All the machines in my shop.
Yeah.
I never went to school for none of them.
Wow.
Yeah, he got some machines in that shop, boy.
I'm going by the shop.
Yeah,
I gotta go by the shop. So Stanley, you can take a used car and make it brand new. For like the engine.
Yeah. I do it all the time. Like, matter of fact, like those classic cars. Like I just built one. It's a big classic car. Like you see all those old cars. I'm the one who I'm the one who build all the motors for all them cars you see around here. I'm the one doing it because just incorporators is a thing of the past. If people can't pick up a computer and work on it, they don't know how to work on it. So I've been told that they was like, man, you know, and this is what customers say, man, we heard you the best. We heard you the best, so that's why we coming to you. So like all of those old cars, 1963 Vet, even, I ain't gonna say no names, but even the companies that work on them, they got to call me.
Well, I mean, I rely a lot on Google, and your Google reviews definitely reflect what you're saying. So, I mean, no lies detected.
Crazy, man.
So, you know, so like a 1963, and that's going thing with, you know, with buying a lot of stuff. You know, like I say, you just kind of see the vision and you just do it. Well, you know, if I go and buy a bunch of old stuff, it's just like property, they don't remake it. So when you got those old cars that you need to rebuild a motor, I'm the one got the motor. So just this one thing that I talk about that, and it was funny, I was going to throw this motor away because I didn't know nothing about it. You know, I was always in the big race car motors and this, that, and other. Where my building at now, I bought the guy out next to me because I didn't want a neighbor. So when he was finally able to sell, I just bought it, right? So
Keep going, Stanley.
so I end up buying the building from him, and I bought everything that he had, and I really didn't know. Man, this guy was like a hoarder. Man, I went over there for like a week straight and got stuff out of this guy's house, like all kind of stuff like 1970 Chevelles, and I never knew nothing. You know, I was born in 77, so I didn't know nothing about no 1960. You know, I was, like I said, I was young when I bought it. Well, younger when I bought it. I was 20s. So when you 20s, you still ain't, you know, you don't know. You don't know. Man, I had one motor, and this is why you have to, and I the younger generation, the advice that I give them, man, you always got to pay attention. You always got to pay attention. You don't ask no questions. God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. Keep your mouth closed, listen, and you got 2 eyes. Pay attention. Well, this particular motor, and that's why I'm sharing it with you because it's funny. I went to go, I was like, I bought all this stuff. Half of it I'm going to strap. Well, I went to go strap it. Well, I remember being a little boy. I used to read a lot of magazines when I was 8, 9, 10 years old. So, you know, like I said, I love drag racing. I love racing, working on cars, this, that, and another. I remember one of the motors that I was going to kick off the trailer. It was this motor that I remember when I was 9, 10 years old that it looked very similar. So I'm like, and I was going to throw it away. Well, that motor, I just sold it for like $17,000. That same motor that I was going to kick out, it's a numbers matching 1963 split one event. And I bought it from this guy. I was going to throw it away. But one thing about it, what I did was I bought all of that stuff from him. Well, when I bought all of that stuff from him, that was the also thing that made me start getting into machining, because then I can remanufacture the stuff that I done bought. So what looks like junk to somebody else, it ain't junk. I got the tools to recreate it, and at this point, I had a client needing a motor for a 1963 Vet. Well, guess what? I had it, and normally a Chevrolet 350 is $1,500. But if you have that motor with that numbers matching, that makes that car, you know how you see Barrett Jackson?
Yeah.
That's what make them cars. I build the motors in them cars that's $150,000, $200,000.
No one to be on the auctions, you know.
Yeah, because when you hear numbers matching, that's the key behind it.
Oh.
So that's, you know, and that just, you know, I really didn't know a lot about it, but as you just put one foot in front of the other, you just kind of.
Man, stand off the chain, man. Well, we sitting here with a professional. Hey, I don't know what to call it. I don't know. Professional engineer. I don't know what's. But listen, man, I'm so happy and so glad to finally meet you, because I hear your name when they be talking about racing up in here.
Yeah.
You know your family. Like I said, I went to school with your sister.
Yeah.
You know, my son went to school with your son.
Yeah.
So that's crazy, man. So, man, this has been very, very. It was a good interview. I don't even want to call it an interview, man. It was just a good sit down, talking, man, to a guy out of Mixon.
Yeah.
You know, guy went to Southeast High School that didn't play no sports. No. But to me, it is a sport, man. You just did a sport that nobody else in the hood knew about. You know, but man, great honor, man. And we here to honor you, man, to let people know in our community we do have people around here that's professionals other than playing ball. You know, they can come touch you. They can come to your shop and see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can't go touch LeBron James and Michael Jordan. They can't touch them like that. They come touch you
Yeah.
and learn a lot from you. You know, so it's good, man. It's good, man. So glad to meet you, man. And so glad to hear your story.
Yeah.
And I know
amazing.
the way he talk, it's a whole lot more
yeah.
that he can tell us, real.
It's amazing though, man. I guess, man. Shoot, there ain't nothing left. Ain't nothing left. But hey, you got any shout outs, Green?
Well, yeah, I do, man. This is the month of May, Mother's Day month, and to all the mothers out there, I want to say Happy Mother's Day. But the 3 special ladies in my life, man, no particular order. They all special in their own unique way. My mom Ruby, my wife Jermaine, my mother-in-law Rebecca. They're my 3 queens, man. So
Yes.
Happy Mother's Day to them. And to all the mothers in Manatee County 941, baby.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, Desiree got a shout out?
Sure. Ain't on camera, so I could do that pause.
Yeah.
Piggyback off Green, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. I hope you all enjoyed your days. And congratulations to all the graduates. College, high school, middle school, elementary, VPK, because that's big too.
Yeah.
So congratulations to all those making that next step in life. And that's about it for me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I want to give a shout out just to Stanley. Hey, I don't know if they call you Stanley, man.
Stan the man, I know, right?
Stan the man,
You got
boy.
a nickname, Stanley?
No.
Okay.
Stanley.
Stanley, man.
Stan the man now.
Stan the man.
Stan the
Man,
man.
I want to just give a huge shout out to you, man. Just for, opening people's eyes. When you start sharing, stories like this, and people have no idea, like myself, you just never know who you may inspire, right? To want to start, hey, I've always kind of thought about, I enjoy racing and whatever, and this is what I could do, and to be able to say, hey, there's somebody that's doing it, and like Green said, if I probably wanted to go knock and find one of your stores, if I'm that inspired and say, hey, man, just talk to me a little bit, to know that you're there and you're doing it, man, all your accomplishments, from building to racing, to consulting, man. Shout out to you, man. I have much respect for what you do, from just being in the sports world and around this town, which is so sporty, but to have somebody else that's doing some really big things, in a huge way, man, owning your own businesses and it's just amazing. So huge shout out to you and what you have done. Huge shout out to your family and what they have inspired in you to become, man. So a shout out to the Albritton family. All right, Stan, you got any shout out?
Yeah, and I got to add to that. My mom, I'd say Happy Mother's Day to Mom. That's my queen too. She was supportive. And my pops, of course, I say this, my cousin Touche. He usually, Touche gonna go to the bad for me, and so I gotta give him a shout out. Hopefully, some kind of way he is. But I gotta give, and all my cousins, man, all of my family, everybody that supported me. Shout out for y'all for having me. I really, really appreciate being on y'all platform and sharing my story with you. I really, really appreciate that. And
Absolutely.
Like I say, man, just everybody that done helped, and just it's just a good thing. Life is beautiful, you know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
that's what you got to do, man. Just love everybody and don't get mad about nothing, and just let it be what it's gonna be. So I guess that's the biggest thing. Shout out to everybody that done help support me, and just keep it going.
There it is. You heard it from the man. Hey, man. For all you guys, make sure you go ahead and hit that button if you have not. I hope you enjoyed tonight's story behind Stanley and what he got going on. Make sure you stay connected though. So hit that subscribe button. Tune in next week. We got another episode coming. Truth Be Told, T Green, D Ray, Stan the man. We out.
Yeah, we out.
We out.
Truth, really that's all we know. Keep it real and authentic. This truth be told, only the truth. Tune in, cause you gotta watch. It's like you with us while we kick it in the barbershop. Here to motivate and inspire. Hosted by the real deal and the God Barber. I hope that you ready, keep it funny.